Yeah, but even when we were walking around in Melbourne, you were like, it felt very close to like home in a way.
That felt like Montreal. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Yeah, Vancouver, Montreal.
Exactly. Because I guess that's the part of being a colony.
Yeah.
Potentially.
The prisoner island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why whenever people are talking about colonization and they're like, everyone's a colonizer, you're like, we were also colonized. Canada.
I know.
I too am a colonized. Yeah,
I'm
colonized. I've only recently joined the ranks. And Irish is very colonized, I think.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. Yeah.
So if anything, I'm more oppressed.
They're the real slaves.
Yeah, I've only recently joined the ranks of colonizer.
Yeah.
You get to skip if you're white. That you get to skip because you moved to America and you're just like, I'm not American. I didn't do any of this stuff, but they just put you in that category.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking of it. It's almost like, how basically they'll say you can only be racist if you're white. It's kind of like, so essentially, if they think your race is doing bad enough, they just let you be racist. That's sort of like
That's wild.
but that's sort of like okay, things aren't going good, but like one good piece of good news is you can be racist.
Yeah. Come on.
You can say whatever you want race-wise and we'll give you a pass, which is somewhat fair.
Like
if your ethnicity makes a little enough money on aggregate, they give you like a pass to say whatever you want, which is a decent trade-off.
It's a big trade-off. You definitely feel that in America.
You know what I mean? If white people in America were like, let's give away all our money and just like, then you come back and you're like, we gave away all the money now, so we can say it.
Yeah. Come on, guys. We can give us a little leeway here.
Yeah.
No, it's cool, man. Yeah, it's been, we were talking about Aboriginals here too, remember?
Yeah.
So you're like, there's people here who think like, they're like, yeah, I'm black. And I'm like,
that was fucking blowing my mind, dude. Like I was talking to Aboriginal people, I was talking to, it's like, and obviously being black, people call me the N-word, and I was like, guy looks like you.
Yeah, what the fuck? If I said that, you'd be like, buddy, you're delusional.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking? I was like, it was blowing my mind. And they have some explanation for it where they're like, well, we were blacker and now we're less black and because of this and that. But I was just like, okay, but you're not black. I mean, especially because obviously Australians know American, and British culture and all that sort of stuff. So you're like, but you do know what a black person is, right?
I don't think they do.
I mean, to me, I get if someone's like, my mom's white, my dad's black, and my hair turned out kind of curly, but not that.
Jerry curl.
Yeah, but these guys have like hair like Indian people do.
No, it's like straight hair. Like
their hair like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, hair is a pretty big thing.
It's a huge thing.
I mean, Logic, like, he always trying to tell people how he's multiracial and people are always kind of giving him shit for that, right?
Who?
Logic, the rapper.
Oh, Logic, yeah.
Well, he's always, the joke is like with him, it's kind of, how do you know, basically, how do you know he's in racial? He'll tell you, it's like he never does an interview without like talking about how he's biracial kind of thing. But it's like, he actually looks white, so he has got to say it, and you kind of get that. But these people, you're like, yeah, but both your parents look like you.
Yeah, what are you talking about? But that's the common thing here too. Is like, also like it's funny because in Australia they're so worried about being racist.
Not everywhere, I guess. Right?
No, but here it's like it's like very evident, even at like comedy shows. Like you talk about race, it's like,
oh,
like
you know why? One of the reasons that may be. I'm sure there's more reasons, but one of them potentially is that you just have a pretty high population of white people here, and white people are sensitive about race. Like if you go to if you're doing comedy in Toronto, half the room's not white, so race is more normal. When you're doing places where the more white people are there, the more race is sensitive.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Really, right?
But it's funny.
And I think people are more sensitive about race if they're not white when they're growing up, when they grew up around exclusively white people.
Yeah, that's true. They feel like it's like, oh, well, they don't know. They don't know if they should laugh or not.
Yeah, like if you talk to a guy who grew up in Brampton, he's probably less sensitive about race because
everyone's brown.
He's just he didn't grow up.
Bangladesh, baby.
But if you grew up being like the odd man out, like if you grew up in like everyone's one thing and I'm a different thing, I think that probably becomes like a point of contention for you a little more.
Yeah, definitely. You're like, yeah, you can talk about race a little bit more.
Yeah, like I'm probably more where you went to high school too. Someone would be like, they weren't like the only Asian. You're just like, I'm Asian. You're like, yeah, so is fucking half the school.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not unique. No. It's not unique, right?
No. That's true. Well, where I grew up too is like very multicultural. It was like fucking everyone.
Markham, right?
Markham, yeah.
Asian?
Scarborough, Markham.
Mostly Asian?
Mostly Asian, yeah. But like Indian, Tamil, fucking
Tamils are the most dangerous.
Chinese, fucking, yeah, white, and then like me. There were not a lot of people like me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like the only like person, like Middle Eastern person there.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. All the Middle Easterns were on Richmond Hill or fucking, I don't know, like Mississauga.
Yeah.
All the Arabs, you know?
We didn't have as many, to be honest.
Yeah, where did you grow up in?
Pickering.
Oh, yeah. You're fucking just white and Asian.
No, well, East Asian, like Indian.
Oh,
dude.
Indian? Okay.
Yeah, tons of Indian dudes, but also a huge percentage of like the Indians that were on the islands, like Guyanese and
Oh, okay.
all
Like
that
fucking
shit.
Trinity and Jamaican.
Big Trinity.
Really? In
Oh,
Pickering?
yeah, huge, man.
Oh.
They had their own school dances where they just wave towels in the air.
Palance.
The
Palance.
Soca Fest.
Palance.
Yeah. They were a block too, like kind of how the Italians had their own
Woodbridge?
hallway where. Well, we just didn't have as many as Woodbridge, but there was like Italians that all wore the kappa and the whole
of
deal.
course, of course.
And they were sort of like a a unit, I would say. And then the Trinis had their own unit. Like they were.
Oh, yeah.
They were pretty big numbers.
Oh, you know that they're Trinity with a flag fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also didn't realize that those were just Indian people that went to those islands. I thought it was kind of a different thing.
No, it's the same. They're just like Guyanese, especially. They're
I
pretty
now
much,
know that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty much Indians. They just have a different accent.
They're such a different type of guy.
They all eat roti.
Yeah,
it's
they
all
all-
the same shit, but like
I
just
know.
a little bit different. You know?
I found that out like not that long ago.
What did you think they were?
Maybe like a mix of like Black and South American or
That's
something.
hilarious.
Maybe not that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought, there's people in different sides of the world that end up being the same color. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like there's white people in Canada and Australia. Like I just thought it was the same color skin, but they're not the same. Like I didn't know they actually like traced back fairly recently to the same place.
Yeah, it's so similar.
I know. I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Well, did you were you like one of the only white people, or was there a lot of white people too?
Probably like half white.
Okay.
Probably like similar to Toronto
Yeah.
demographics, like
Oh,
50% white, maybe something like that.
So
I think it's less now though.
Oh, for sure. Now it's
moved
just
quick.
pure fucking.
Like
Indian.
probably less white. Like my brother's like 7 years younger than me, and like his generation was probably like if mine was 50% white, his was probably like 40.
Oh
It
wow,
moves
that's a
pretty
big
quick.
fucking percentage.
Yeah, like in 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, especially now, it's probably even more. It's probably like there's so many Indians, so many Asians.
Yeah, they run shit. In
They're
Pickering.
running shit,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Just like everywhere,
Was in Markham Asians run shit?
bro. It's been Asians for eternity.
Yeah, they
Everywhere you go,
souped
bro,
up cars.
souped up. You go to Walmart, you go to a grocery store. It's in Chinese first, and then English.
So the whole place is like Chinatown kind of.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild, isn't it?
The only thing I went to Markham for is played hockey here and there.
Yeah. Mark some pocket fucking Markham Waxers.
Yeah, it was the Waxers. Yeah.
Classic.
Do they have gangs?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Triads.
The Triads actually
Yeah.
kind of.
Oh, for sure. There were certain parts like
It's kind of like how small town everyone's like I'm friends with the Hells Angels, or
Yeah, exactly.
in Woodbridge everyone like low key
Yeah.
knows a mob guy.
Yeah.
They had that where
The
like
Triad-
everyone's like, oh my second cousins.
Oh
in the
yeah.
Triads.
No, for sure. There was times where like my friends and I would go. It was like high school. After high school, we'd go to like these like fucking like pool table places, whatever.
Yeah.
All run by Triads.
Interesting.
You could tell like you don't want to fuck around there.
Do you know anyone that got fucked up by Triads? Made a wrong decision?
I know people have gotten jumped for like doing dumb shit, but like not like anything worse than that. But
Not
I'm sure
like
there are.
They
I'm
owed
sure
the
there are.
money or.
Oh, fucking, they're everywhere, 100%.
But I feel like sometimes there's that thing where it's like you you get in a fight with the wrong guy and then he calls every one of his cousins
bro,
and that sort of shows up.
that's my entire high school
Yeah.
career. Not was just Asians, bro.
It's always
just like
cousins.
just regular Tamils, just fucking Tamils.
That's how Tamils
Bro.
is always that.
Bro, literally, like,
They stick together.
Yeah, bro, big time. We were in high school, and two guys were like beefing, like arguing, and one guy's like, "Yo, I'm gonna call my boys, yo. I'm gonna call my boys." Calls
You do not
someone?
want the boys getting called.
Yeah. Bro, literally within like 15, 20 minutes, you see a 7 Honda Civics pull up.
Yeah.
With 7 guys in each car.
Yeah, of
All
course.
pulling up with chains and like blowout hair. You get the blowout. You're gonna need the blowout hair,
You have to run if you
No, you're done.
blow up hair, shave sides.
Yeah, shave, fade, nice fade, just fucking, like small.
Did you watch it
scrawny.
go down?
Oh yeah, I've seen it a couple times. Yeah, I was in the middle of a brawl one time, but I didn't get fucked up.
You weren't
Luckily.
even on a side. It just happened to be.
No, I was. So actually, this is a different story, but it was after a game. It was a high school game. Our team won the whole state, like the province championship.
Yeah.
And the other team, the other school, it was at Rogers Center. It was at the stadium. And after the game finished, everyone was walking out. Everyone's kind of drinking. You know, high school, they fucking drink whatever. Me and
Still do.
Yeah, still do. Yeah, still get fucked up with the boys. We're walking out, and there's like 40 people. It was me and 4 of my friends. My fucking friend is an idiot. He was too drunk. He was like, yo, fuck. I forget the name of the school. He was like, yo, fuck this school. Fuck that school. Bro, all those guys looked over like, yo, what'd you say? What'd you say? I was like, yo, shut the fuck up, bro. There's fucking 50 of them. There's 4 of us and like 2 girls. Bro, they come rush us. Like literally corner us into a corner. 2 of the guys start fighting. Like they're like in my face. Like, yo, what the fuck you say? Like, bro, like what the fuck? They're touching the girls. Like they're fucking like grabbing their ass and shit. Like just being fucked as fuck. And then like they're like 2 of my guy friends, they got fucked up because they were the one talking shit and like they were trying to fight. And then like luckily no one touched me because I was like nah man, I'm chill, bro. Like yo, we're
Your
good.
friends are just getting fucking rocked.
Mauled. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like I had to watch it. Like
Yeah.
if I started fighting, I would have got fucked. Like
Yeah.
I was at least like let me like.
Also, you're not fucking in a gang. You don't have that like.
No,
honor
bro. What
culture.
the fuck? I can't even tie my shoes, bro.
Yeah.
Like the fuck you talking about?
That's pure. That's like a different mentality where you're just like you got to go down with the ship.
No, I'm not fucking. I wasn't born in Compton, bro. I'm not with the crew, bro. Like I'm not riding with the gang, home. You know, I'm not fucking. Bro, like,
why do I have to get beat up?
I know I'm wholesome, bro. I gotta go home. My mom cook me food, bro. Like, let me just go home.
You can't show up with your fucking Nike footprint on your neck.
No, exactly, bro.
She's gonna send you to boarding school.
Yeah, bro. I already have 17 missed calls. Can I pick up this call, dude? Like, you're trying to fight me.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta go home, dude. But yeah, there's a lot of that stuff, man.
I saw one time where they called all their cousins, and then it was against the Italians, and then made the main Italian kiss the guy's shoe.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It was a big deal.
Wait, were you a part of any crews or anything?
I mean, not like that.
The white gangs?
No, I was like, I guess I was like skateboarder kid. Then I was in a band, and then, but where I went to high school, we were the biggest high school who came to or the biggest school that came to our high school. So I came with like sort of a lot. There was a lot of us.
Oh, like your elementary school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's always clutch. You're like,
yeah,
all
that
right.
was clutch.
I know enough people.
Like, well, when we got to school, we already had like 20 of us.
Oh, you're rolling
They were
deep.
boys, yeah.
You're rolling deep. Yeah, that's always fun, man. Because you played in a band for like a long time too, from like when you were in high school.
Yeah.
Right.
I did all the things, man. I was
Yeah.
like band kid, skateboard kid.
Yeah. Did you?
I'm a crypto guy.
Oh, now you're just a finance bro. Now that you're doing comedy, what would you say is like the best attention you've got from each of those things?
Say it again.
Like now that you've been doing comedy.
But what do you mean by best attention?
Like, cause it used to be in a band, you were getting fucking pure attention from like girls or like other. People
Oh, you're saying
shit.
what's like cooler?
Yeah. What was like the
Probably being in a band's cooler,
Really?
but it's a young man's game.
Oh,
You know what I mean? I think being probably obvious that like being. I mean, bands are sort of different now. They're all DJs, I guess. But like that, yeah, that's probably cooler. But it's also cooler for like a 20-year-old.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
Like that like party lifestyle isn't conducive forever.
No.
Yeah, so I think that's a young man's game, and you're getting attention from young people too, right? So
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's a different game.
What was like the craziest fan experience you had when you were in a band?
I don't know. I don't have a good story for that.
Like I got too many, bro.
Fan experience? You're you. I feel like you get recognized more than anyone I know.
Well, it's not even about recognize. I mean, like sometimes, like
People spot this guy out of a lineup.
Well, I mean, it's funny. Well, I'm just saying because there's,
Chinatown, we had one the other day.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it was a good time. That guy was fucking starstruck. It was hilarious. I'm saying like because there's usually like weird people in your DMs or like I guess back in the day you wasn't really
MySpace days?
MySpace, yeah.
Did you have MySpace?
No, I didn't actually. That was past my. That was before my time. But did you have any like weird like interactions with girls like at shows or anything like people like crazy fans or like?
What kind of questions are these?
I'm trying to know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Did you probably like interactions with fans?
Did you DP after the show?
We did. We toured like It's different too, though. When you're a comic, you're kind of like just touring nonstop. So it's like far more anticlimactic, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Think about if you just like twice a year went on tour for 3 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a month or whatever.
Right.
It's way more of like an event. And on top of that, you're on tour with like, especially if there's other bands, there's like 12, 13 of you. So it's
that's wild.
you're there with like a squad of dudes who are 23. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a different vibe than like touring with like one buddy and you're just like in a city for a couple of days or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's both. It's like, I'm sure there's like some comics that are like 20 years old that are, you know, just rocking out every night. But
Yeah.
also social media probably like changed all of it, where to some degree, like all the people that are doing good have to be kind of like on it every day, work like, you know what I mean? So you meet I feel like you even see like 22-year-olds who are pretty popular and they're very like, okay, I'm shooting this, we're posting this. Like they're very running a business.
Yeah.
So I feel like to some degree, there's probably a lot less of just guys like rocking out nonstop.
100%. Oh yeah, they're using the DMs more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's way easier. Way easier now.
That's true. It is easier, but also more dangerous.
Oh, so dangerous.
Because
Yeah.
you're just like, I mean, the bottom line is, I think it was Drake said that, the GOAT.
GOAT?
He said, he was like, if you spend all your time on pussy, you won't get anything done. So that's why probably the old school band way was better, where it was like, you have your normal life, you're working hard, and then like a couple times a year, you basically go on, you know, these tours.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I guess there's some bands that are like on tour nonstop, but
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah.
I remember there's an old movie that I can't remember who it was about, but I like watching sports documentaries and band documentaries, but
You like watching sports documentaries?
that's probably the main thing that I watch.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't strike me as a sports
It's not
documentary.
about, I'm not really, I mean, I played sports and stuff, but like I don't really follow sports like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it just gets me pumped up.
Which ones?
Probably seen all the main ones. I mean, probably one of the best ones recently is the Arnold one. Sick.
Oh, okay.
Like the bodybuilding ones are pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, did you
Last
see Last
Dance
Dance?
I've watched.
Yeah.
Who's the tall white guy? Basketball player, Novodiak or
Vladi Divac?
no, I might have. What is it? Yeah, big white guy. But the reason why it was cool, he has his own personal trainer that he he had from like when he was a kid. So he has his coach, and then he also has his like other coach.
Oh, fucking Dirk.
Yeah, Dirk. Yeah.
Yeah, Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Novodian, did you say?
I thought you would get it when I was right to say N. I thought he would get it.
Yeah.
I know you're a basketball guy. He couldn't put it together.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's good too. Yeah.
But I just like I like the like philosophy of it. It's kind of like history wise, like listen to ancient Rome shit, because it's just so like. I mean, everyone always makes fun of that, but like it really is all of the same shit that kind of happened in America in a lot of ways. So you kind of, I feel like the way that like studying history sort of makes you remember that like all this stuff has happened a million times. So it makes you like invest a lot less, which I think is good for comedy.
Okay.
I think that like if you look at like the top of the top sports documentaries, which is probably again the most thing I watch, I always leave like, they always have like 4 or 5 sick like quotes.
Yeah.
Here's one, the Dirk one. His guy, he was like, people always talk about like motivation, right? And he was like, you know, let's say you're waking up and you're like, oh, should I do this today? You know what I mean? He says when you're asking the question, you've already lost. Oh. Which is true, right?
That's facts.
And I feel like so many people talk about like, oh, how to be more motivated, but like it's like when people are having that conversation to some degree, you're like, you're already. It's already.
No, you're done. You already thought about it.
Yeah, like you can't wake up every morning and be like, okay, get hype yourself. You just have to. It has to be like normal.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You're just like, it's just normal. You don't even think about it.
No.
And I think that there's just like always good like summations of things that you can take. I mean, obviously it's like different in comedy, and the one big thing that I feel like sports is you can just to some degree more so work the hardest, whereas in stuff like this, sometimes you can you can put yourself in situations where you're just like, you're working too hard maybe on the wrong stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just like, it's more of an intellectual, pursuit, right?
Yeah.
So it's not, you can't just always work your way out of every problem.
No, definitely
Which
not.
I think in certain things like sports, you kind of that might be your best option.
Yeah. Did you see that Dream Team one? With the what is it called? Dream Team? Redeem Team. The Redeem Team.
No,
Have you
I
seen
didn't
that
see
one?
Redeem Team.
Yeah,
What's
with
that one?
it was the Team USA Olympics team, basketball. With,
Okay, no,
with
I
Kobe
didn't.
Bryant. They were like talking about how Kobe Bryant, like he's just like built different.
Yeah, I've watched one on him,
Okay, yeah. Like, have you seen the story, the example of like,
and everyone says that about him. Yeah, it's just he finished
fucking-
every game, goes back to the court.
yeah, but that's for sure. But there's one time, they're in Vegas practicing for the U.S. Olympics, whatever, and every other team member went to the club and came back at 4 a.m. And as they're walking back into the hotel rooms,
They
Kobe
see him
Bryant
there.
was waking
Yeah,
up to go to the
I watched something that
Yeah.
said that. I don't know if it was the same
yeah,
one.
like that's crazy.
I know. Actually, I remember why I brought this up. So on the tour doc, I remember the band was on tour a lot, and one of the conversations, the guy was like, like they sent, he sent them on the road, and they were making so much money, and they're like, we need to get back to the city and make some fucking hits. Like, we can't just be on the road all the time. And I was like, I always think that.
What do you mean?
I'm always thinking that in terms of myself. Like, right, like you need to just like take financial hits so you can make good stuff.
Like what you're saying with your stand up?
With everything, yeah, stand up, videos, everything. You can't just be on the road always.
No, yeah, because you're always thinking like road mentality.
Your brain's not going to be at its best.
No, yeah, especially like not sleeping and shit. Talking about how, like sleep problems, bro.
I know.
It's a big thing, man.
Yeah, but the sports documentaries is sort of more. There are definitely jobs where, I mean, probably in college, there are people that are just like, yeah, I just like worked way harder than everyone, as long as you're like at their level.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, in intellectual pursuits, like,
Yeah.
there's a cap on that.
Oh, for sure, 100%. What's your favorite doc?
Honest to God, I think the Arnold one's the best.
Yeah?
That's why I
Is it?
mentioned it.
I gotta
first,
watch that
yeah.
one. That was
Well,
fun.
his is a 3-part, and the reason why the Arnold one, I mean, it's hard to know how much bullshit is because, I'm sure even in yourself, like sometimes you say things and you're like, yeah, I'm like I probably do have more of a debate. You're like that. Like a lot of times people are saying like what they want to be true about themselves, but maybe internally it's a little more of a struggle. But Arnold became, the biggest bodybuilder in the world. Then he became the biggest movie star in the world, and then he became like not in the world, but he became the governor of California. So he was like, he's just like never loses until his personal life.
Yeah,
His
literally.
personal life fell apart.
Gets fucked.
Yeah.
That's sick. What you're talking about like being on the road and it like affecting your stand up and everything like that. Like, well, what's like?
I mean, that's probably not even a hot take that like being in a plane in a hotel every day is not the best for you.
Well, also because I've heard of like other comics talking about how like when the comics are always on the road, their jokes start becoming about the planes, the hotels, and the travel.
Yeah.
Right? You start getting bland, right? So it's like at some point it's actually counterproductive when you're traveling so much.
Yeah, I think in comedy, everyone's like comedy philosophy is always just like them, but so like everyone's like advice is always like what they are.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, your advice will be how to be more like you.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because you have different things. Than
Right,
other people,
that's true.
Like even just you look different, so like you interact with how to get laughs different from other people. So all your advice will so different.
true.
But I don't find that too much with myself, but I also don't talk about things that happened to me.
Oh,
I do a little, but like that's not
right.
really
True. That's
like
not your style.
yeah, like I've heard so many people be like, "Oh, you need to like go live life and have experience or whatever." And it's like, well, yeah, if you talk about crazy things that happen to you, you definitely need to go have crazy things happen to you. But
right.
like,
Go to a museum.
I'm like, but that's not, what I
Yeah.
mean? If you're making like, if you're doing like Dimitri Martin style wordplay jokes, like I don't know how much having like crazy things happen to you helps. You know what I mean? So I think it just depends. So my point was, I think it depends on what you actually do.
Yeah. Do you have like a formula for creating your content?
For which ones? For
Online? Just like sketches or like interviews, like because you've been doing it for a fucking while too, man.
Yeah.
You've been crushing content for like over a decade.
You do kind of do it. I do kind of do everything the same. Like, you know what I mean? Like the people always say that. I think that's why a lot of people that were, some of the guys that were like the top in the military, but also athletes. There's also other things. Like a lot of times people that were really top of something go on to be, the top of the next thing they do because they figured out how to be great at something. But Yeah, for me right now, what I do is I try as best as I can to have like blocks of days, not blocks of hours. So being like, okay, I'm like writing today as opposed to like writing 2 hours every day, which I used to be more what I did. So that works better. And then because I feel like it takes so much time to get your brain into like the spot. So I try to be like, okay, today I'm writing everything. And then a lot of times afterwards, there's like a farm system where I'll like, you know, maybe I'll say things I'm thinking about on the podcast, doing the city, and then maybe I'll try it as like a sketch. So I kind of, a lot of times I'll be looking at sketches and then I go and look at all the stuff I write. And then if I'm going to do stand up that night, I look at like all these pages of things I wrote and then kind of figure out where they're going to go.
Interesting.
But I try to write everything like stand up and then see if it slots in other places.
Oh, interesting. You started with stand up and then
Yeah,
if it
because
doesn't
that's
work
more
well
of like
enough?
a way of thinking. I feel like that's one of the things when I'm actually not doing stand up every night, you start writing stand up and you're just like, this isn't, you forget like how it works. Like you're just like, it's such a specific like brain pathway of how like jokes work.
Yeah.
When sketches and everything else is different, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like if you just write like a stand up, I feel like it can extrapolate to everything else. But if you write things the other way, it doesn't extrapolate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I feel like everything can branch out from stand up, but it doesn't work the other way. So that's why I try to think of things in terms of stand up.
Do you think that if it affects you if you're doing too much stand up every night? You're not able to like get creative enough for stand up if you're always on stage? Do you feel like you need more days off?
No, I don't feel that, but I just feel like it's like a general time question probably, you know what I mean? Like, okay, for example, like to me, like if you're doing stand-up every night and then you have like 4 hours of like normal stuff you have to do every day and then you have to do this, well then you're kind of like, you're doing stand-up every night and you're not really getting that much done. But if I took like 6 months, for example, where I'm like, yo, I'm not posting a video, I'm not doing podcasts, I'm going to only do stand-up and that's the only thing I'm thinking about, I don't think that there would be any problem with that from like a stand-up productivity standpoint.
Right.
I find it's more just like, because you have so much other stuff you're doing. And if you're like, oh, and then I go do stand-up tonight and I didn't even, like, it's like, you're kind of like fake working.
Yeah, because I noticed.
What do you find?
No, because I noticed you definitely have a fucking consistent formula with like, so there's always a sketch that comes out, and then a podcast clip, and then a street interview, and then like rinse and repeat. You know what I'm saying? And then like stand up clips in between as well, right? Like.
Oh, you're saying like, do I get bored of one to switch to the other?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, but also like, because I know, do you ever think about it, or are you just like naturally just kind of like I've gotten into that flow of like, now because these are the 4 things you post.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you don't think about other shit. Like
I think sometimes it's like cultural. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes, things are like really tense. And it's like you want like something needs to be said.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's like satire is kind of like the best way to do that. And then sometimes it's a little more of like a goofy vibe. So you know what I mean? So a lot of times to me, it's probably more what I think the vibe of like this moment is. Yeah. It suits it best.
Right.
But there's some times where it's like things are like really tense or maybe not tense isn't the right word, but like sometimes street interviews just feel like unnecessary at this moment. Like
really?
I don't know, certain types of culture, obviously in music, every time things get like super heavy, then they go super emo, and then they get super heavy, and then they get emo. And and it also, there's probably, that happens in hip hop, it happens in rock, but it also goes the other way where it's like things get super electronic, then they get super natural. Like things always kind of swing back and forth between these things. Yeah. And in comedy, things get super like, everyone has a lot of opinions, then it, kind of gets sillier, and things always go back and forth. But I think there's also, they go back and forth like, weekly sometimes. Yeah, yeah. So I think, and things move so quick now because, a moment will, it's like almost like the cycles happen in like a week, what used to be like 6 months now.
Oh man, now it's like fucking the next day people forget.
Yeah, and I'm not even forget. You're like, all this stuff's been said. We know all the different sides of this opinion.
What's next?
Yeah, now it's either like you move on or you just like pick one and evangelize for it.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't feel like that's good for stand up.
No. Yeah, because you do a lot of topical stuff too, so it's like actually helps you keep on your toes as well for like at least street interviews or like sketches and stuff.
Some of that stuff is probably less creative and more just like Like, I feel like that's like when you're doing like the sketches, that's almost like as if you had a job as like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes, but I think you're probably refining the muscle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it feels a little less creative and a little more like
You're just staying on top of the trends.
doing the thing you can do.
Yeah. Do you find that like like because you've been doing stand up obviously in the States a lot. Do you find that the audiences are more primed for more of like the fucking offensive comedy, or like are people still like really progressive?
I find that's a perfect example of I feel it's like kind of over. Yeah, that conversation is like kind of I think it's like reached its logical conclusion in some ways, you know?
What do you mean?
If you talk about you know, like probably like 2015, 2016, the moment or whatever, things as of right now where you're like, is there anything that like hasn't been said about that like moment? Like it does like spur out again every now and then, but really it's like, I think that always eventually it becomes not cool to be telling people what to do. So the younger generation will never do it. Yeah. And then eventually that generation that was doing that ages out of relevance. And then young people kind of determine cultural, really.
For sure. Yeah. The new generation coming up now, they're more like millennials where like they don't give a fuck about all this.
Right. If you imagine you went to like high school when everyone was like telling you what you can and can't say, like it's unlikely you would be that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, never is, right? So I think that sort of reaches logical conclusion. It feels like it's more in other places. It's always like in America, they have every conversation, but then other countries kind of like actually do this stuff. So it's like, it is, you know what I mean? It kind of feels like, sometimes it feels like an older brother that like younger brothers listen to, and he comes in, we're like, oh, we're goth now. We love goth music.
Yeah.
And then he like goes away for 2 weeks, and then he comes back and he's like, you know, dressed completely differently, and they're all like all in and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, you're still doing that? Like, you know, it feels like other countries are a bit like that. Like 100%. Even just like random shit, like, you know, the government doing, you know, all these speech laws and all that stuff. Like, it really feels like it's like, oh, you're still like on that.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, you were the one who started it. But it feels a little bit like that to me.
Right. And you're talking about in the States, it's like that for you?
I would just describe it as like the people that were, you know, telling you what to say or whatever lost.
Yeah.
And also the most important thing is it's no longer particularly financially valuable to do, and it's no longer that politically valuable to do. Yeah. Like, I don't think that like it's politicians coming and saying everyone's really racist that helps them that much. So I don't think I think that's why they don't do it. Once it stops like becoming profitable, whether that be in terms of votes or money, I think that people do it less.
Yeah. That's facts.
Yeah. That's kind of to me. Yeah. Why it's eventually then it kind of just, and then they just pretend that they never did it.
100%. I think a lot of people are just,
how many people do you know that were just like, can you believe that stuff? You're like, that was you 2 years ago.
Yeah, literally, yeah. So many. Also, I feel like people are just kind of tired of it too. Like I don't know if you saw the opening ceremony for the Olympics.
Yeah. The most French shit ever.
Yeah, well, the fucking the Last Supper.
Dude, I was loving the idea of like, they're just like, okay, you can do the Olympics, but like, we just need 30% less French. And they're just like, yeah, no, it's not going to be that French. But like, don't like go overboard with how French you are. Like, I know you're French, you want it to be gay, but
come on.
Just 10% less French.
Yeah, for sure,
I mean, what we have is pretty reasonable, actually.
No, it's normal. Definitely fucking not. Yeah, the Last Supper, fucking.
French is probably the epitome of like, I mean, that's where all the like, you know, gay shit came from.
From France?
Yeah, like all of the like philosophers that were kind of like the underpinnings to all sort of like modern North American bullshit. They're all like French. It's all French shit. Dude, some of the France produces the like dumbest ideas of all time. That's all. A lot of that's France. Foucault sounds pretty French, right?
Yeah. No, I didn't know that was who they were.
Dude, French is such a garbage dump. Like,
Did you go there on that tour?
I've never been to France.
You've never
To
been
be
to
honest,
France?
a lot of my French knowledge comes from Quebec, but
Oh,
I mean France like every day. Okay, so French is the hub of the girls protesting with their tops off.
yeah, and hairy
Which is
armpits.
Yeah. You like all like college kid dorm room hippie shit. Like
Yeah.
to me, that's
It's
very.
very French.
I think so.
Well, but you're in New York. You must see that shit all the time. New York is like
I mean, New York's like a huge ass place. Definitely, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there will always be like college kids who are protesting shit, and they should be like that's
Yeah.
who should be doing it.
right. No one else is doing
It's
it.
like I don't need the fucking CEO of Lockheed Martin getting on board. Like, you know what I mean? But like,
No 9-to-5ers doing that. So
that's what you should be doing when you're in college. Is probably
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
like
figure it
every
out.
college kids either like go, or at least I think most colleges, it's like you're either just like partying. Or you go all in Communist Manifesto or all in Adam Smith Wealth of Nations.
Right.
Like you either become like
no other option.
yeah, you're either like the fucking and then have these college kid conversations, right? That's normal and
Yes.
probably should be happening, but it was
Right.
like keep it in
Yeah, keep it in this boundary.
So yeah, New York has a lot of colleges and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean that's like I guess Brooklyn has sort of that
Oh,
vibe
man,
of a
Brooklyn.
lot of that shit, but
All
like
hipsters.
which is kind of like mixed with hipster shit. But,
Yeah. All
No,
that extra shit.
I think New York's more people bumping into each other. Like, what the fuck you looking at?
Yeah, what the fuck? Hey, I'm
Yeah.
fucking walking it.
I always kind of think it's funny because, like, and I've said the way that people say stuff about Toronto, and you're kind of like, I mean, sort of, but like you're
Right.
kind of getting it wrong. Like, news always gets other places news.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of like when you drew, like if you drew an alien, like kind of from memory.
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean? You're
yeah.
like you sort of got the stuff in the right places, but you're missing like the reason.
Yeah.
A lot here would be a big thing that people always say is like they'll be like there's these crazy laws there, and then you'll be like, yeah, but no one really does it.
No.
Like, you know, that's a big thing that people will
Right.
get wrong. They'll be like these insane, you know, things that are happening in this country, and
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, but like no one actually does
No,
that.
I know, yeah.
So those are the kind of things that get wrong. But I think New York has like a reputation of kind of like, you know, very like sensitive hipsters a little bit, but in reality, it's like more of 30-year-old guys wearing like gangster clothes from 10 years before, walking around like asking what you're looking at.
Delusional. No idea what's going on.
Like still have like look like they're in G Unit.
FUBU.
Yeah.
G units.
Yeah, like all of Queens is that.
Bro,
I think New York's sick though.
speaking of Drake though,
Buddy,
Buddy.
the guy got killed.
Fuck Kendrick.
fuck K Dot. We were talking about how you were someone was using Kendrick's song.
No, someone just tagged me in a photo in Australia, and he put it to the Kendrick music and tagged me, and I
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, there's zero chance of
No
reposting
chance
that.
of repost. No chance. Same exact thing happened to me. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, well, the
How-
same thing for the music there.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, I love you, bro, but like, I can't.
it feels like you're being like a traitor.
100%. It's real implications.
This is
bro.
it's such a weird one because like it is funny, and I honestly I have made fun of Drake a lot, but it does feel like one of those things like the way that you'd make fun of your buddy.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like,
Yeah.
and then and then someone
roasting
you
him a
don't
little
know is like, that guy's a fucking loser. You're like,
You're
what'd you
what the
like?
fuck did you say? Yeah, yo, what?
Yeah, we can say it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yo, only I can say that shit. No, it's real implication because, like, you know, so he follows me
Drake,
on Instagram.
sick.
Yeah, it's pretty
There you
sick.
go.
Yeah. So I was like,
He's tapped into stuff.
yeah,
Right?
he's so tapped in, right? So I'm like, I can't, if I reposted that and he saw it,
I'll be out of your mind. Yeah.
I'm done. This is real shit, bro.
Yeah, you're not.
It's real
understanding.
Toronto shit, dog. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing that actually switched my opinion a tiny little bit when all this came out was, well, I'll say this first. The first thing was the Kendrick Lamar thing where he was like, he just opened his mouth, give him a Grammy. I actually have been saying that for a long time, where he's got that thing where I always don't like when someone gets in a category where it's like, no matter what they make, and it's kind of like, in my opinion, like not good, passed off as artsy, and all the critics will fucking,
Eat that shit up.
you know what I mean? So I've always thought that a little bit about him, where it was like anything this guy could do, everyone will post hoc explain to you why it was genius.
Oh, yeah, of
and it
course.
could be anything.
Anything.
Like he could release an album cover that was just like, you know, a pile of dirt, and everyone would break their
Bro.
bones bending over backwards to explain to you why this is the
17
most
minutes.
genius. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. So I always did feel like that
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah.
Which I guess no fault of his. It
No.
just happens. But the Drake and then the Drake thing. My negative about him was it does seem like he was fucking a lot of people's girlfriends that were like his friends, which is the scummiest move. Like to me that's the only thing where it was like so many of his beefs were like he banged their girlfriend, and it was like if I'm friends with someone, even if we're not like that tight, like banging their girlfriend's insane. That's like such a scumbag. Oh, it's just crazy, especially when it's like because you're way more famous than them. You like, you know what I
It's
mean?
pretty wild.
Like if you have a buddy and you bang and you're like bang his girlfriend on like you're 10 times more famous than him.
It's wild.
It just seems like to me that is
Hey, man.
scumbag shit.
Come on.
Hey, what are you doing?
I thought we were boys.
So that was the only thing that
Yeah.
I think of the exposition that I was like,
Who,
okay.
who
that
really
is a bit
knows what's
much.
real, man? We don't know what the fuck is actually real.
That's true. Yeah, who knows?
They could just be, for all we know, maybe they fabricate.
I think
the
he
whole thing.
liked to do that though. I think it was kind of like how he fights, where he'd be like, "Yeah, I bang your girl then," like you know what I mean. I think it was how he kind of like tells someone to go fuck themselves.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
like DMs their girl.
Yeah, yeah,
But I don't love
yeah.
that move.
yeah. Hey
Feels
man,
weaselly.
I fucked a girl.
Yeah, which is the ultimate. I don't know. Dude, so many fights from people are from that, eh? Like
So many.
in hip hop.
So many.
I think it's mostly
It's
just
always about that.
I know.
There's nothing else.
I'd make the case Drake's battle tested though. Everyone comes with this guy, and he's still the top.
Yeah.
It's true.
So there's that.
You can't take that away from him, man. He's still at the top after all these years. What the fuck are you gonna say?
What do you mean battle tested? You're just like saying that like everyone keeps trying to take him down. It didn't work.
At the same time.
Well, it kind of worked this time, I guess, right?
I mean,
Well,
I
depends
guess.
how you look at it. Like, I think if you look at the numbers, just 2 days ago, he just went right back up to the top of the hip hop charts.
Okay.
So if that's how you're measuring success, which is
Yeah.
a metric,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from a guy that's not like a hip hop head.
Yeah,
So to me,
true.
it like definitely the vibe of normal people seems like
Yeah.
he's lost.
No, but at the same time, though, a lot of people are shitting on Kendrick now too because he's like riding this one song. He didn't post. he
I
didn't-
I also thought that was like I wouldn't. Yeah. I also felt like that if I was like whenever I have something that like does well, obviously on a 10 times million less scale.
Yeah.
But like I never want to like milk it. Like it feels like.
No.
Yeah, doing the 9 victory laps does feel like
Yeah.
kind of corny to me.
Yeah, he
anyway.
just fucking, bro. He hasn't released something in like over a decade.
It's like sore winner almost.
Yeah, exactly. It's like throwing it in your face almost. Yeah,
It's almost unsportsmanlike.
very unsportsmanlike. Sports terms, sports doc.
Yeah, but the Olympic thing's fucking hilarious. What do you
yeah.
think of it?
Oh yeah, I was like, it was pretty funny because I'm like, well, why do you got like if you're overweight, it's cool. I mean, if you're working on your shit, but like me, but like why you got a bunch of like overweight fat people
The Olympics.
like representing the Olympics.
Do
I'm
you
like,
think
it's
it
offensive
was,
to me? Cause
do you believe that it was like on purpose and because I guess they did the Last Supper or whatever? Do you believe that like? Do you think that the French people are just so up their own ass this seems normal, or do you think it was like let's fuck with Christians so then they get mad and like? You think it was the second one?
The latter. But also,
I wouldn't write it off that French people are just like these,
Yeah.
artsy France
for
people
sure.
are just like so up their own ass. They're like in this little like.
my only question to that is like, okay, do that with the Prophet Muhammad and see how that goes.
bro, you get fucked.
Which we'll never do.
They'll only do
Oh,
that.
obviously.
Yeah, Jesus is the easiest thing to obviously come after.
Uh-huh.
So that's why. Yeah,
The
they would
white
never.
one.
Yeah, the white. He's the white. Yeah, they wouldn't do it with any other of the gods, obviously. But
I always get it because I do jokes about all religions, and it's
Jew Quran is my favorite.
yeah. To me, it feels almost like it's weird because no matter what I put, like if I do a joke about Christianity, everyone will always be like, "Why don't you do that about Muslims?" And I'm like, "I do." And if I do joke about Muslims,
You
people,
do.
you know what I mean? But it feels obviously it went. So far where, there was like that South Park episode where everyone just goes to church and he's like pedophile.
Yeah.
Like it got like so okay.
So okay.
And I feel like the Christians are getting a little, they're trying to take back the power a little bit
for
of
sure.
like, we also should not be made fun of.
Yeah.
It's hard to turn back the time.
Yeah, It definitely is.
It's hard to flip it.
Well, it's also I feel like
And they don't have white girls on their side. White chicks are like,
No.
their kryptonite is other cultures, right?
Oh yeah, they love culture.
Yeah. So it's like girls in America. It's like their dad's Christian, so they're like,
Right.
fuck him.
Yeah, exactly.
And Muslim guy, they're like, well, I don't really know any, but like, I love them.
Yeah. I can't say anything bad about them.
Yeah.
It's offensive. Yeah.
It's their kryptonite.
They're criminal. Yeah, exactly. What would you say is like the caliber of difference from doing comedy in Canada, U.S. to here now?
To Australia?
Yeah. Now that you've been here, obviously, a couple weeks.
Well, I only hung out with the four of you, and you were. I only
Yeah.
hung out with four good people: you, Frenchie, Lou, Rory. So I don't really know what the average like scene is like, but I would imagine New York's better.
Yeah. I
I mean, you don't have comedy clubs, right?
There's like 2 here. Is that a little Zen or what?
Yeah.
A little Zen sauce?
I mean, obviously, it doesn't sound like. I think that create like a scene where people get really good, you need a place where people are like doing 2-3 shows a night at the same places.
100%.
And I don't think shows really solves that problem.
No. And like even in Canada, man, there's no fucking market either, right? So that's why we're all fucking trying to go to the U.S., right?
But there was the clubs though.
Yeah, but there's also gatekeeping like crazy for no reason. I'm like, I don't understand.
It's
like,
a useless country.
It's so useless.
Yeah. Getting more useless.
I don't understand. Like it actually bothers me because I'm like, how do you guys not see it?
I know. I think that, you know what I think too, probably historically, I feel like every generation of people has to be like, why won't this change? And then realize that all the people that are good leave and accept that it's not gonna.
Yeah.
And it's probably like small towns, period. You know what I mean? Like it's someone who stayed in their hometown being like, guys, we could be a big city.
Come on.
And it's like, just leave.
Yeah.
So I think I have a very mentality of like, it kind of reminds me of someone in a bad relationship being like, we can,
Yeah.
and you're just like, this girl sucks, like leave.
Yeah. No, trust me, we can make it work.
Yeah. Or,
No, you can't.
Yeah. You don't always have to make every situation work.
No.
You can leave.
I know. Yeah, exactly. You're not getting any opportunities over there either.
But I don't think it's getting better. I think it's getting worse.
yeah, I agree.
And it will continue to get worse.
In what way do you think it'll get worse?
Well, the more that you like essentially involve the government in art, the worse it will get.
It's over.
Right? So
Yeah, especially with Daddy Trudeau.
right, and it's kind of a catch-22 because I get the like inclination of being like, we want to like support the Canadian industry, but what you actually end up doing is controlling it. And because, and anytime you have these like big sums of money, it's going to be corrupt.
No, 100%.
So it's like, I don't feel it maybe doesn't seem like something that like I get mad at as much as like inevitable, and I don't really see, it's hard to roll those things back. They only expand. Right. So as soon as you have like a big pile of money and you're like, okay, we're going to distribute this money. And then you have people that are deciding who gets it, then you're distorting the thing. And unfortunately, like, especially how quick things move now, all you're going to do is kneecap people.
Oh, yeah.
But with the internet, I think that it's easier for people to not be part of it and then leave.
100%. It's the easier
That's
way
what you
out.
did. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, everyone fucking did. Everyone I know that's like actually doing something.
Yours was more though, because I had been doing normal stuff, but I moved and then sort of built my own channels.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I was doing TV stuff and music stuff and whatever, but like I wasn't like really a YouTuber podcaster when I was in Canada. I was kind of, I was actually making films and TV shows and like.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you were actually just like, you built your own thing separately and then moved. I did it the other.
Yeah.
I moved first.
Yeah, I remember. Well, you were doing like fuckonomics and everything like that.
Yeah,
too,
but like, no one was really paying attention. That wasn't like, you know what I mean? I hadn't built like a social media presence.
Yeah. No, I remember that. That's crazy. It was during the pandemic. I remember when you started to blow up. That was pretty nuts.
I had like millions of views on videos tons of times.
Yeah,
but it was my things.
Right. Yeah.
So I knew how to do it already. It just like wasn't doing it on my own one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You already had all the practice over the years of doing all the TV stuff.
Yeah,
and then
totally.
you just translate it to online and you're like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that like if you spend so much time like getting good at video, and then it becomes like the number one thing that stand-ups all have to do.
I know.
Like
It's
kind of
wild.
an advantage.
Yeah.
But then there's also the other part of it where on social media, especially, like effort is punished. Like on the internet, it's like people, you know what I mean? People don't like it when it looks like you tried too hard.
100%.
And it's like, I have too much of like an old school, cause all my brain, like it's hard to reprogram your own brain. You know what I mean? And my brain and my way I do make things is programmed at a different time. So it's like, I have to like unprogram myself to like not care.
Wait, because you think your problem is caring too much?
Well, maybe not caring too much
like
is
trying
the right
too hard or
word, but
whatever?
it's like making things like
Polished.
Polished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying people don't like
That's
that.
a good way to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying people don't like that right now. They'd
No,
rather the
not
fucking
really.
shitty, authentic fucking.
Yeah. I feel like social media does not reward the appearance of effort.
Yeah, that's true.
And also from like a beat perspective, like just little things like, you know, cameras moving all over the place and
Yeah.
sloppy actually kind of interacts with the algorithm better. Like there's just like a lot of little
So
things.
random. It's so fucking
Yeah.
wild. It's so true. That's actually the same thing here though. People over here it's the same. They hate it when you try too hard.
Yeah.
They bring you down. They're like, no, yo, chill the fuck out.
yeah.
It's like, chill out, can't fucking bring it down.
I know.
That's how it is over here.
I can see the vibe of like the content. It all has like a tinge of like, we don't care.
Yeah. Just nonchalant. Yeah, fuck it. I'm like, I don't understand. Why?
I know.
What's the point of that?
Well, that's probably another thing that goes back and forth. You know what I mean? Like, I think that because there's another side of the internet that is like, y'all sleeping, I'm working, which is the other thing. But I don't think it translates totally
No.
into content.
No, it doesn't.
Because art, right now, I don't know. I think for always, it like effort isn't cool, right? Like it's. I mean,
Unless you're
the-
trying to win a girl over.
no. I would say that the girl over is the same, and that what you want is like way sexier. Is this guy's just so talented he barely tries, and this is how funny he is. Like that's what stand up is. Period. Is like
Yeah.
pretending. You know, I thought
That
of
you're
this stuff.
natural. Yeah.
Yeah,
Off the top of your head.
Right. That's way like
Right.
sexier and more
That's true.
attractive.
That's
And
true.
for women, what's more attractive is like this guy's so, you know, good at people and he's so funny and he doesn't even like know it almost. Like, you know what I mean? That's like I think that it's trying too hard. I mean, if you like go over the top to try to get a girl, it's actually probably like unattractive to her at some degree.
Well, I'm saying more so like just putting an effort to like just show her that you care, or that you're trying to like fucking, you know, you're trying to be a man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, there's kind of like weird philosophies of people are actually like you more if you don't always give them what they want. Like if you give them what they want a little bit and then you
yeah, you pull the scale back.
so it's its own like tug and pull. But yeah, obviously
games, pure
you don't-
games.
Yeah, you don't want a girl to like obviously it's not gonna work. It probably doesn't work that often for a girl to just be like, I'm completely uninterested in you. Like, leave me alone. And then she leaves and you're just like, what the fuck? I thought that was going to work.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there's like a middle ground, but I mean, I don't know. I know lots of guys that are just like over the top try. I mean, probably it depends on who the person is and what it comes from and how exclusive it feels. Like if you can make the girl feel like I normally don't do this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know
Just
what I mean?
constantly reiterate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I normally don't do this, but
But that's, I mean, if they feel like I just try, this guy's just always like trying hard for every girl, obviously.
yeah,
That's not a
yeah,
feeling.
exactly. It's not special. Yeah, there's also, I've noticed in crowd work clips with comedians recently, there's a lot of people who are trying to like set up people with dates in their crowd work clips. Have you seen these?
What do they do?
Like comics, their
Okay.
crowd work clips are just them on stage trying to set up dates with like people in the audience.
Oh, actually trying to hit on them.
Like not like them hitting, but like the
Trying to
like,
set two other people
Two
up.
other people, yeah. And that's like the new vibe that's been like going viral. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that.
I
It's
guess
like,
that's natural because you're just like, how many times can people ask what they do for a living? You're like, we need something else. You're like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
it's like what I don't know. Like I don't know if that's like weird or like if that's even like comedy at this point. Like what's the But it's a good.
It is a different thing.
It's a different thing, right? It's not
Uh-huh.
like you're not doing crowd work. You're just fucking like you're just setting two people up.
Yeah,
but then-
what is this?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
I
is this like?
know. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. You're like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Like, this isn't stand up anymore. Like, what's the goal here?
I mean, obviously the goal is views and
Sure,
clicks.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. If I went to like, I mean, there's something for everyone. So there's only got to be so many people that want that. Like, I can't imagine myself ever wanting to go to a show and watching the guy like,
No.
like
Hey,
maybe you
so
do it. I mean, just
What
be
kind
like,
of guys do you like?
yeah, like I feel like girls like that shit more. Like,
Yeah.
if you like, one interesting thing is if you look at like the metrics of people, all the crowd work, like most of the biggest crowd work guys, their demographic is all women.
Interesting.
I have a theory because I know some girls that's like normal girls that are just like, oh, I like crowd work. Maybe some of it is that there's always like, ooh, something's about to happen. That's one of it.
It's the
and
tea.
the second part is they're nosy. Yeah.
The tea.
Girls
The
are
gossip.
nosy. Like, I'm kind of watching and you're like, what do you do for a living? You're like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
The fuck do I care what this guy's job is or like what his deal? Like, I couldn't care less. But like girls are like nosy. Maybe it's like
Was he six
there's
figures
like a
or
voyeuristic element to
is he
it.
blue collar or white collar? I wonder. It's like,
How long they've been together? Like, would you ever see a couple and like want to know how long they've been together?
Like genuinely?
Like you're just walking down the street.
No,
and
never.
But I think girls are like, oh, I wonder what's their
True.
story.
Yeah, that's true.
So I
That's a
maybe
good point.
that's a part of it. They're nosier.
That's a good point. That's true, actually.
And that's the only thing I came up with is like
So
they're
crowd work is-
nosier, and then there's also like something's about to happen, and they like I don't
It's
know.
like a reality TV show. in real
Yeah,
life.
and they're more interested in people like psychologically. But that is 100% true that most of the. I mean, just look at like most of the people that are the biggest crowd work guys. It's a female audience.
Matt Rife.
Yeah, so I think that's a part of it.
Who else does crowd work that's huge? Yeah, you know me. You must know some guys.
Yeah.
In New York, even.
I mean, there's a guy out here, Luke
Luke
Kidgel,
Kidgel,
that's
right?
really
Luke
big
Kidgel.
out here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he does have a lot of girlfriends.
There's one guy I'm forgetting his last name, and I know him too well to butcher it.
Like
I
someone.
mean, there's a million. I
Yeah.
don't need, but like, just I've even seen myself. Like, if I have crowd work clips that go viral, if I look at the analytics, it's more women than
Really?
normally. I don't know. They just like that. So maybe it's that. So maybe if you're like obviously there's people that would want to go see that. Like Jessica Kirsten has like a
she's
huge
fun.
crowd work thing. I would imagine it's like to some degree females and gay guys. I think that's
Yeah.
what she said.
Or closeted gay guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That maybe don't go to the shows. I don't know. But so maybe eventually crowd work just becomes like a thing that you're like, oh, that's a type of comedy.
I feel like it's going that way because
It does feel like it's branching out. We're like,
Yeah.
because there is two things where you're like, oh, I'm going to see a comedy show. It's like, are you going to watch a guy like speak for an hour, or are you going to watch a guy do like an interactive performance?
Yeah. It's different.
It's like they're two completely different.
Two different things.
Like they're as different as like watching a band and a speech. Like you know what I mean?
That's so true.
Like they are a different thing altogether.
There's another comic who does he has like a microphone that changes. It's like auto tuned.
Okay.
And his whole shtick is he goes into the audience. He's like, "What's your name?"
And he sings and
They
stuff.
sing stuff, and then like they're like, "Oh, like is this your girlfriend?" Blah blah blah. No, and then people laugh, and it's like that. But he gets like millions of views.
Probably,
brushes.
yeah.
And like those people are coming to see that live. I don't even know if he does jokes. He just like does auto tune stuff. I'm like,
I mean, I think I try not. I don't think there's always going to be and always has been like people that do the thing are going to look at the top thing at the time and be like, what the fuck is this? Like, why is Big Bang Theory the best show? That sucks. Like, so I don't know. There's always going to be a lot of crappy stuff that a lot of people like to some degree. And then sometimes something breaks through where it's like everyone likes it and it's good.
yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Not to say that, any of those people are crappy or whatever.
No.
I don't know them specifically, but
Yeah.
the
They're still making it work. So.
but yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, I think my point is that crowd work stuff pisses off a lot of people.
Oh,
that
100%.
like
Comics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was just that about sitcoms before, and that about
Yeah, I
there's
know.
always going to be like, why does everyone like this?
Right, that's true. Do you ever see that happening at the Cellar a lot? Like when you've done the Cellar?
What, people talking shit?
No, like well that too. But like doing crowd work. I feel like Cellar comics
yeah.
don't really do.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Really?
People are trying to get clips.
You think they're doing it
The
for the
clips thing
clips?
fucked everyone up, man.
It's so crazy.
And it works. Dude, I hate that it works. Like, I literally will do crowd work clips and I'll be like, all right, I'll post this, 1 million views. You're like, the fuck is this?
With any actual joke fucking tanks.
Yeah, it's like, it's just, unfortunately, for whatever reason, people like it. It is what it is.
That's great. You don't really do it at your shows though.
No.
Crowd work. That's not your thing.
No.
You never like doing that.
Not really.
Yeah. Because you also don't give a fuck either.
I don't
right?
feel like it suits me. Like like a lot of the people that are the best at it have like a very like jovial personality.
Right.
I just don't feel like it suits me.
Yeah, you're like,
it feels
I
like
don't give a fuck.
ingenuine. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're asking because you just want to ask.
Well, Matt,
Not
yeah,
because
it
like you're
feels.
just-
Dude, I feel like a fraud or something. Like when I'm like, dude, kind of. I feel like
I feel that
they know I'm just trying to get a clip.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. I'm maybe like.
it's
I do it when something happens. Like something happens, and then So if you're doing if I'm doing 5 shows somewhere, like it's almost guaranteed that something's gonna happen or someone says something, and then I engage. So I release that stuff, but I never just like straight up. Okay, here's the portion where I get to know you guys.
Right.
It feels like
it's forced.
It feels forced. It doesn't suit me.
I feel that. There's
I mean,
time-
that's why even when I do street interviews, people always say like, "Oh, you do street stuff. That's the same." And it was like, I can see why you'd think that, but it's actually completely different because in street interviews, the audience knows something that they don't. You know what I mean? Like
That's true. They're in on it.
Yeah, which is a completely different dynamic. You're like,
different.
I'm doing. I know that they have more information than this person that I'm with. Whereas in crowd work, everyone has all the information.
That's
so
true.
that's more like joking around with your buddies.
That's true. Yeah, there's times where I'm on stage and now I'm like, I've seen so many crowd work clips. I'm like, and now every time I ask someone a question, I'm like, oh fuck, this feels crowd worky.
I don't know, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I'm not gonna listen.
I'm like, hey, so like, how long you guys been? Oh fuck.
The game's the game. I mean, I'm as much as anyone. Like, you get fucked up, where you're just like, oh, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. And then you're just like, yo, stop.
Like I don't even know what to do anymore.
Well, yeah, I
Just do
try
the
to just
jokes.
go back
Just
to
do
what
the
I
jokes.
actually want to do.
Basics, man.
And then just
Jokes.
accept that, like, I don't know. A lot of times I'll just be like, okay, try to remember that you're looking at like a 10-year span, not a 2-year span.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well-
It's very easy to, and remember that, like, one thing I try to remember is like, if you do something and it's working, you're going to have to do a lot more of that. So
Exactly.
if you don't like it, like,
You're fucked.
and it's working, like, long term, you're not going to want to do it anyway. So
Might as well just don't know.
yeah. So, I mean, you're like a combination of those things. I try to get my head back on straight and focus and be like, oh, this works. It'd be so easy. But it's like, but you hate doing that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if that's my like job now is I spend, dude, because especially nowadays, like I'm sure you work fucking a lot of hours a week. It's like, how long would you be able to do that if you really hated it? It's like, I can not like it and things can be hard, but like if it was like my least favorite thing, then you're like, then what am I doing? Why don't I be in real estate?
Yeah.
Like, why am I, like,
What's the
what
point
are
of all
we
this?
doing then?
Yeah.
If
Exactly.
I hate it.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is like you realize if you get a crowd work clip that goes viral too, but that's not what you do, then it's like it's counterproductive in a way because then people are gonna come to your show thinking that they're gonna see that.
Maybe,
then you're not gonna
yeah.
do that. So it's like it's only hurting you.
It is a weird thing for sure.
Yeah.
A weird like product of the internet, I guess.
So wild. It's just
Who would've
nosiness,
predicted
bro.
that?
Fucking people just want the tea, man. The bitches want the tea.
It has to be something like that.
Bitches want the tea.
But
Yeah.
also algorithms are very rewarding to like something's about to happen.
It is, yeah, yeah.
Then you
Well,
watch.
as humans, you're just nosy in general.
So, no, that's why Grower works. I'm just so nosy.
I was gonna ask one. I guess one last question is, how was after doing the Rogan podcast? Did you feel like people treated you differently,
No.
like
No.
your peers or like other comics or anything like that?
No, I don't think so. I think there is. I mean, probably in New York, a lot of people have done it or whatever. So no, I don't
Yeah.
think at all. But I think that there's probably like, I think for me, there's been like certain things like that where I might be a guy that people have like seen a few times, and I'm sure you probably have people on the internet where you're kind of like, I don't really know that guy's name, but you're like, oh, that guy's, I see, you
That
see
guy.
him every now and then. You're like, oh, that guy's pretty funny. You couldn't know his name. I think maybe there was like a section of people that kind of like knew who I was, and now they know my name. Like instead of being like, oh, that guy's from the internet is kind of funny, they were like, oh, that's Ryan Long. So that, and I feel like maybe some of those people like actually would come to a show now. You know what I mean? As opposed to just be like, I'm just like a guy on the internet they see here and there.
Right. Do you have people coming to your shows specifically from that episode you did? Like,
I think
like,
after,
I saw you on Rogan. Like,
yeah, it's always like a mix of all the different things. Yeah, but
Yeah.
100% for the like, especially for right after you do it. Yeah.
Did you feel like a actual like wave of people coming from that?
No, it was like the ticket sales were
was
kind
just
of same steady, like
Yeah.
incline as always.
Right.
Maybe like right after there was maybe no,
It wasn't like drastic.
no.
Yeah.
Like I remember I did Detroit the next weekend. It wasn't like a insane bump or anything.
Right.
But it's hard to say because it was, I don't know if maybe it just was Detroit or whatever.
Yeah.
Definitely probably helps over a long thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know if there's that many things now that are just like overnight things go up 50% other than having like just an insane video that just like takes over the internet.
Huck Tua.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that, aside, I don't know if there's that much stuff that, or you have like a podcast where like you do something that becomes like, you know, this enormous moment. But I haven't had it's all pretty steady.
Yeah. How did you get on the podcast in the first place? Like he saw you live or like?
No, I guess he saw videos. Yeah.
Saw videos. Okay.
Actually sent like,
You're still?
there's a few people that like I know where he said he liked these videos.
Oh,
Like maybe 2 or 3 of them. And then he like messaged me and he was like, want to do the podcast?
that's dope. Like you messaged you on Instagram or some shit or like?
Yeah, I was spending some time in Austin, so I kind of
fuck
ran into
yeah.
him. Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
You're not easily like starstruck or anything like that though. Like how'd you feel when you got the message?
Yeah, obviously the biggest like comic in the
Yeah.
world. It's sick.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
like, what the
dude,
fuck,
man? Yeah.
Do you think it was?
No, it was kind of, yeah. It's like when you just get a message. Out of the
Yeah, you're
blue.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick though.
There's only definitely a few people. There's only a few people that have like a star-strucking presence. Because I've definitely met like really famous people that like don't feel anyways, and then there's certain people where it's like, oh shit, just have like a presence.
Well, it's because it's like someone who's more in your field or more in your interests will hit you more, even if they're not as famous.
Yeah, exactly.
But Rogan's like in comedy.
Who would be for you someone that like you run into that you're just like, yo,
fucking Drake, obviously. But
yeah, he'd be a pretty like. That'd be pretty wild if you're at like a. That's a perfect example. I feel like if I was at a bar and Kendrick Lamar was there, I'd be like, oh okay.
No, I wouldn't give a fuck.
You're right.
I'd
If
be
like I was at like a bar and it was like Drake showed up, that would be kind
I'd
of
be
like,
what the fuck?
what the fuck?
Yeah. For sure. But within comedy too, though, like if it was like Bill Burr or some shit, or like guys like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be like
maybe, or even better if they like recognized me. They're like, oh yeah, like I've seen your videos, or like.
I had that with Louis, and it would like
Oh,
fucked
really?
me up. Yeah.
No, he came up to you.
Yeah, he
No
was
way.
like at I don't know, maybe like a year or two, maybe 2 years ago, and he was like, "Oh, you're that guy that made that video, right?" He had like a video that I made that he like saw that he liked.
Oh no way.
And I talked to him for maybe like, I don't know, 7 minutes or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty like what.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
You watched my
now
videos?
he's like around the cellar and stuff. So a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people then it becomes more normal.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was probably the first one when I moved to America where you're just like,
What the fuck?
yeah, because it feels like they're like so surreal of
I know.
humans, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For the first time, I know you know him or whatever, but he came up to him and he's like, I know you. I wasn't even involved. I was like, holy shit, like,
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
Andy fucking Schultz. Like,
cool. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that felt good too.
Dude, he's becoming like the way that Russell Peters was in
Yeah, I
other
know.
countries. It feels like
I know.
where you just go and like do the arena
It's
and
crazy, bro.
Saudi
crushing.
Arabia or whatever.
He's in Abu Dhabi, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Hanging out
Selling
with
out
the
arenas.
hanging out with the like
The,
sultans
the,
and
the,
stuff.
the sheikhs and shit, bro.
Yeah.
It's fucked. Yeah, Russell was still stuck, yeah. That was one of the coolest for me.
He seems like he'd be like a normal guy, very normal
Very normal.
guy.
So normal. But he roasted me like as I was going on stage when I was opening for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yo, man, like I was starstruck. I was like, I didn't even expect to open for him. It was 10 minutes before showtime. Like,
Oh, you just went.
I was there just like to hang out. And,
Where
like,
was it?
First one was in Ottawa at the Senator Stadium.
And you were just randomly there.
We were just in the back, like just, yeah.
Okay, so you kind of knew him.
No, like we know his brother. Like, but they're fans of my videos. We met them
right.
backstage, and then 10 minutes before the showtime, Clayton, his manager's older brother, told my brother, yo, like, does he want to do 10 minutes on stage? like 10 minutes before showtime. And then
Who else was doing it? Was it other people?
Lachlan, his opener.
Okay.
For his last name.
Lachlan Peterson or Lachlan LaShawn? Isn't it Patterson or Peterson?
Lachlan Patterson.
Yeah, LA guy from
LA
Vancouver.
Guy. Yeah. He's dope. I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, like
That must have stressed you out.
well, I was
You've never
excited.
done an arena before.
No, the closest was like 400 people.
So you're like, I just have to put 10 minutes together in this second.
Well, like the good thing is I was already doing my own. I was about to do my own tour, so I was like, okay, I could do 10 minutes. Like,
yeah, but that almost stresses me out more when I'm doing an hour and you're just like, do this important 10 minutes because it's like,
which 10 minutes?
yeah, I don't know, I don't have it like.
I just had to figure it out.
Different headspaces.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I have to figure it out. Like, I have to go up, and so I was like, all right, I'm just do this, and 10 minutes before time, and then I was like, Russell was like on stage as they were announcing me. I was like, yo, man, you got any like advice, bro? And he's like, yo, don't fucking bomb. And I was like, all right, man.
How'd your set go?
Pretty good. It was probably one of the best sets I've had.
Oh, nice.
Because I was like on a high. I was such an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. I went from 400.
You know what's funny? I feel like I'll never be as nervous, even something like that, as I was thinking back to like being like, you know, 1 year into comedy and they're just like, oh, you want to do a spot? And you're just like,
really?
I could try. You're just like looking at your thing like, oh my God. Like, I remember like, I don't think I'll ever be like nervous the way that you were. Yeah, some of those early times when you just get thrown up randomly somewhere. Bro. Like, so for a show with 30 people.
Yeah, exactly. The smaller the room, the worse. I could do arenas right now, no problem.
Theater, I don't think I'll ever be like stressed out to do a spot at a theater.
No,
I can show up like drunk, like half-assed. Yeah, where you're like, some like hard room where 20 people. I'm like
stressing,
like,
bro.
Fuck.
I'm like sweating before I go on stage. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, this might be like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Whereas like, theater,
and they're staring at me.
This is gonna be fine.
That's what I'm saying. But also, it's because you can see everybody.
Mm-hmm, that's true too. Yeah.
That the more intimate it is, the more nerve-wracking it is.
And also, it might be like a super hard show. Like, what's the worst the theater is gonna be?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it's.
But arena, like, I don't know. I've never done an arena for stand-up.
Oh yeah.
I've done an arena music. I've never.
Statistically, it's hard to bomb
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is hard. Yeah. Like yeah, exactly. The few times I did it, it was like amazing. Like.
Is it weird?
It's so weird. Like especially the Scotiabank one. In Toronto, it was fucking nuts.
Who'd you do that with?
Russell.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a few, yeah. It was fucking nuts.
That's so strange, man, doing Scotiabank.
It's so crazy. Yeah. I'm like, I just came here to see Raptors a few months ago.
Yeah, do you speak quiet?
No. It's kind of echoey.
Yeah.
So you have to slow down a lot.
Yeah, it feels
I had to slow down way more. But like the 10 minutes I usually did, it was like 5. It was wild.
So if you're doing arenas, you don't need a full hour.
Not really. 37.
What was the Tony Robbins thing you did again?
Tony Robbins.
What didn't you do the Tony Robbins?
Gary V.
Yeah, and I forgot your buddies with Gary V now.
Yeah. It's my boy. Yeah.
Dude, that's so random.
Yeah, that was VCon. He invited me to open for him at VCon at his NFT conference.
How many people were at VCon?
That was like 4,500 people.
Okay.
That was pretty. But like, that's different.
How much are tickets to VCon? Like, how much money does VCon make?
You have to have it's an NFT, so you have to be a member.
And how much is it? You have to buy.
I think it was like a few grand. I think it was like.
Okay, so it's not cheap to go to VCon.
No. It wasn't cheap. No.
What do you do what happens at VCon?
Well, there's just like there's speakers. He brought like all the sickest speakers. There's speakers. There's like other like little events. Yeah, booths. Fucking whatever NFT shit like interactive stuff. Yeah. Schultz did it last year.
Schultz was at VCon too?
But he just did a set on stage. He was like the entertainment. Yeah, but for me, when I went, I opened as Gary V. Like, I went on stage as Gary V.
How long did you do? It
was like 7 minutes.
And what did you say?
Why? So, like, they were about to start the conference, and they're like, all right, everyone, the man of the hour, Gary V. And then I walk on stage.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, everyone, like, the whole voice and everything, and like the whole impression. People were like loving it. Like people were filming. It was hilarious.
So you just did an impression for 5 minutes.
I was doing like a bit, like as Gary V. Yeah. And then the other guy came
Did it feel like it was wearing thin after a few minutes?
No, a little bit, but also because there was another guy they brought who also did impressions.
You're like, all right, 3 more.
Yeah, we got it, man. Fucking yeah.
It's kind of one gag.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, but then like there's another guy who came up and did it like a few minutes after I did.
That's
like,
worse for him. We just did this.
I know, exactly. But we were just doing it together, and then like that got some laughs, and then Gary himself came out.
Okay.
And that was sick. And like we were bantering off.
First Gary Vee impersonator is way better than the second
Way
one.
better. I was so amped because like we were wondering like, who's gonna go on first, but then everyone was like, "Yo, you're first. Like you're the better one."
Oh yeah. I guess
like,
the bigger. Yeah. Normally
best
you want to
one,
go
yeah.
second, but
Yeah.
Are you better than the other guy?
Yeah, like I think overall, like, yeah, I am the best one.
Yeah, you do pretty good impressions.
But like, also, I think I had more of like a following than he did too.
Well, that's the most
And all
important
that stuff,
part,
and like
yeah.
my videos went a little bit more viral.
So this is just some random Gary Vee that he plucked off the internet.
Well, no, the other guy is like he's pretty funny too. Like, his name's Ami. He's actually really funny too. But it was just like different. It was a little bit different. But yeah, mine was more of like the Gary Vee. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You had some Gary Vee bangers.
Yeah, some bangers. Yeah. So anyway, it was pretty cool.
Gary Vee was like the whole internet was Gary Vee for like a minute.
a minute.
For like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the empire. He's the fucking empire of content.
Yeah, it's definitely probably stepped back a little bit, but no one stays.
No.
No one stays the
No.
center of the internet for
Exactly.
Like Andrew Tate was the center of the internet. Like that, no one stays that forever. Peterson was the center of the internet
Yeah.
forever. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like eventually it'll start coming down, but then like still relevant. It's just not like
I mean,
peak.
Trump's the only dude, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Rogan a little bit has been.
For sure.
Yeah.
Rogan,
Yeah, that's true.
Trump is on and off.
Like,
Trump's probably the most guy that's. I mean, but that's not like. Not saying like the president of America. You're like, yeah, he's managed to stay relevant. You're like, he's not really like fair comparison.
Yeah.
You're like
Yeah.
the King of England's
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
done
I
a
know.
pretty good job of staying.
Pretty wild, man.
Yeah,
So wild.
that's like unfair because they whether you like him or not, you're seeing him.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas other people, like in entertainment, I guess movie stars or something, but like when someone becomes like for that day, Hawk Tour was that every
exactly.
person was talking about her. You're like,
I
there's
know.
people who were that for a year.
People, it's so funny when people talk shit about her. Like, so many people are like, "Oh man, she's not even like, she has no talent and all this stuff. Like, she's not even, like,
Definitely has no talent.
Yeah,
She's not
obviously.
what talent would you
Yeah.
have? Yeah.
yeah, none of those people fucking.
Yeah, but it is funny being like she has no talent. But yeah,
It's like, who cares? Like, no, she's not
well,
gonna.
it's a joke. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like she's not gonna fucking make.
It feels like those jokes are kind of a thing that like everyone's in on it. Like, isn't it funny that we're making her famous? Isn't this like
you're
stupid?
adding to it by
It's so
talking
stupid,
about
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, no, that's everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you've ever like wanted to fucking work with or open for?
Like someone that would be like starstruck to me or something.
Yeah, like for me, like Russell Peters was like my idol. Like,
I mean, it'd probably be like a random person, like Woody Allen or something. You know what I mean? Like, imagine just like someone.
Woody Allen is so random.
Yeah, like someone that's like a legend. But
Yeah.
So there's people that almost feel like
Not even
larger
real.
than life or something. You know?
Yeah.
Trying to think like, because the comics, it's not so much because
You're in
comics
that
are
world.
more. Well, they're normal.
Yeah. that's true.
They're not. They usually don't have like an insane ego. They're usually
true.
pretty like a normal guy.
Especially if they're
And
successful.
then also they're around.
right. Yeah. Well,
and
nowadays, yeah, that's true.
Well, they have to be around because they have to do stand up.
They gotta practice.
Yeah. So they
They gotta
have
get
to.
sharp.
So they have to be around.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Any
like,
musicians?
Sandler's
Sandler would be
pretty
cool.
like
Sandler
wild,
would be
like
cool.
human to, hang out with.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
I don't think Will Ferrell would. No, because Will Ferrell was never for me like my favorite.
Yeah.
Like he's one of those guys that's around and you're like, yeah, that guy's obviously super
Yeah, one of
talented,
those,
big movie
yeah.
star, whatever. But like, I've never had a moment where like he was my favorite guy.
Yeah. That's true.
Whereas like Sandler, I remember listening to the prank calls and being like,
Yeah.
oh, he's the goat.
Amazing. Go.
Yeah, so I think it's a mix. They have to be sort of like larger than life human, and then on top of that, like you had some moment where they were,
Yeah.
because then they're sort of like a part of your life.
Yeah. It's an inspiration.
Yeah, they're like this weird. They don't even. There's people that like they don't even realize they were like a part of your brain.
Right. Yeah. If you had an all-star lineup for a show you want to do in like an arena, who would you pick? 4 people.
What do you mean? Like I would just be my boys, I guess.
No, I'm saying like, well, yeah, that's a good answer actually. That's a loyal fucking answer right there. For
Yeah,
the
I
boys.
feel like I always just my boys. But you mean like who would be the best
Like,
4 comedians?
Yeah,
alive?
like you would want to be on the lineup with, like, that'd be sick.
I don't know. To be honest, like it doesn't. It sounds like I'm copping out of your question, but like it just like
Doesn't even matter.
doesn't appeal to me to
Really?
like want to do arenas. It feels like
Not even arena, just like any show, like that's like would be a sick show.
just what's a good lineup.
Like for me, it would be Bill Burr, Russell Peters,
Okay.
Louis, and Sebastian Maniscalco,
Yeah.
and then me.
I don't.
That'd be pretty sick.
I guess a sick show would be like maybe if like I don't know, Louis C.K. fucking
Just
Bill Burr.
Louis and Ryan, and the boys.
For me,
the boys.
Tom Green was like my favorite.
Tom
guy.
Green. Oh
Yeah.
fuck, damn, legend.
He was kind of like my
Canadian
favorite guy
legend.
growing up. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah,
And,
man, it'd be sick to be pranks with that guy.
For me, when I was like probably in grade 7, I feel like Tom Green, Sandler, and that crew, like David Spade and all those guys.
Oh, really? Wow.
Those
Yeah.
were like, this is when I'm like
True.
11, 12.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
Classic.
to me, those were probably the people that most like influenced. But this
Yeah.
is not stand up. This is
No, just like overall.
Now people stand up's like popular. I feel like
Yeah, yeah.
When we were growing up, stand up wasn't popular.
No,
I didn't
it's
know-
getting there
I
now.
didn't really know stand up comedians.
Yeah,
really.
that's true. Yeah, I mean, they're.
I
Yeah,
knew
that's true.
like Seinfeld.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or people that were like movie stars that you're like, oh, he was a stand up.
Yeah, that's true.
I was thinking the biggest is right now a normal person like has like a favorite comedian a lot often. Like you'll meet
Yeah,
like a
that's
normal
true.
person, they're like, oh, I have a favorite, like this is my favorite
Right.
comedian. Like that's very
They didn't.
that wasn't
Never a
like
thing.
that,
But yeah, back in that's true. Yeah, that's true. It was usually movie stars.
yeah, and you know that he was a comedian,
Right. Exactly. But like it was more of
But
like
even
a,
they kind of weren't because a lot of those big like sitcom peoples and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of those people were pretty. 7 to 10 years in, and then
Yeah, they're just-
got some deal
Exactly.
about because they would basically have like perspective and they make like a series kind of about their life. But it's not like they were. A lot of those guys weren't these kind of legend comedians at that point.
No, like Steve Martin, Tim Allen,
Yeah.
all those guys. It's like
Exactly.
they're comedians, but they're more like known as like TV, like movie
Yeah,
stars.
I guess podcasting is a bit like that, but they're more
Yeah, that's true.
adjacent.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, most really famous comedians right now still tour as a comedian, whereas like I feel like for our whole existence, it was kind of like a comedian would get big enough and then kind of not be a comedian anymore.
That's true, actually. Well, do you want to plug your
When does
socials?
it come out?
Probably like next week.
Okay, so no Australia. Yeah, my podcast is The Boys Cast with Ryan Long, and everything's at Ryan Long Comedy.
You heard it here first.
Y'all
Thanks,
already
guys.
know what it is.
Shout out to the boys, fellas. See you soon. Peace.